I sat alone in my San Francisco loft, the city's fog curling outside my window, casting ghostly shadows across the hardwood floor. The email glared from my laptop, its words seared into my mind. Effective immediately. You are relieved of your position as lead data scientist. You will transition to an advisory role, reporting to Mr. James Carter. No explanation, no warning, just a corporate axe slicing through 7 years of late nights, breakthrough algorithms, and a team I had forged from nothing. My project VisionCore, an artificial intelligence system set to redefine predictive analytics, had just landed a $70 million contract. And yet, here I was, demoted. The clock on my desk read 2:15 in the morning. Sleep was a stranger. My phone buzzed with texts from colleagues. What happened? Elena, are you okay? But I ignored them. Instead, I stared at the framed photo of my mother, her piercing blue eyes and steady smile radiating strength from the day she opened her first tech startup in Palo Alto. She had always said, "Patience is power. Elena, wait for the right moment." I had waited. I had played their game, smiled through subtle slights, nodded at empty pitches from executives who could not debug a script to save their lives. But this was war. James Carter, the man behind the email, was the company's golden child. Stanford MBA, tailored suits, a grin that charmed boardrooms. He had joined 3 years ago, dazzling the board with buzzwords innovation, scalability, disruption while I delivered results. My team's artificial intelligence had slashed operational costs by 15% last quarter. Carter's contribution, a keynote at TechCrunch and a corner office with a bay view. He did not just want my job, he wanted my erasure. You're too analytical. Elena, he had once said, smirking, this industry needs vision, not just code. A jab at my focus, my gender, my everything. I stood, pacing the loft. The demotion was not a mere slight, it was a message. They thought I would fade quietly, take the advisory role, and smile. They did not know me. They did not know what my mother had left me. A month ago, on the 6th anniversary of her passing, I had received a sealed envelope from her lawyer, Ms. Helen Strauss. Your mother's instructions were explicit, she had said, her voice calm but firm. Open it alone, when you are ready. I had brushed it off then, a sentimental keepsake. I thought, but last night, after the email, I had torn it open. Inside was a letter in her precise handwriting, and a legal document that stopped my heart. Elena, you have always been my vision. This company was my dream, but you are my legacy. I have left you something no one can take away. Use it when the time is right. The document was a trust agreement. My mother, a German-American tech pioneer and unsung co-founder of this conglomerate, had quietly retained 85% ownership of a critical subsidiary VisionCore, a shadow entity controlling the company's artificial intelligence patents, including mine. The trust transferred full control to me on my 33rd birthday. That was last week. I stopped pacing, my reflection staring back from the glass balcony door. The city's hum was faint, unaware of the storm brewing inside me. Carter thought he had won. The board thought they had silenced me. They had no idea I held the keys to their empire. I texted Ms. Strauss, "It is time. Call the shareholder meeting." Her reply was instant. Documents ready. Meeting set for Monday. I glanced at my mother's photo, her eyes daring me to act. The time was right. The morning fog clung to San Francisco's streets as I stepped into Ms. Strauss's law office, a sleek glass suite in the financial district. The air smelled of espresso and polished wood. Ms. Strauss, a woman whose sharp gaze cut through pleasantries, greeted me with a nod, sliding a thick folder across her desk. "Everything you need is here." "Elena," she said, her voice low, as if the city itself might eavesdrop. "Your mother planned this with precision." I opened the folder, my fingers tracing legal documents stamped with seals, ownership certificates, and a breakdown of VisionCore's assets. The subsidiary was not just a shell. It controlled the patents for every major artificial intelligence innovation my team had developed, including VisionCore. Without it, the parent company was a machine without a core. I looked up, meeting her eyes. Why did she not tell me? Ms. Strauss leaned back, her expression softening. "Your mother knew the company would shift after she left. She wanted you to earn your place first, to see who would stand by you and who would betray you." Her words hit like a weight in my chest. My mother had always been a strategist, a chess master in a world of amateurs. She had seen Carter coming, or someone like him. I flipped through the trust agreement again, its clauses ironclad, its power absolute. "The board does not know," I said, half to myself. "Not yet," she replied, a faint smile flickering. "But they will." Back in my loft, I spread the documents across my dining table, a battlefield of paper and ink. My mother's letter lay at the center, her words a quiet command. Use it when the time is right. Monday's shareholder meeting would be my opening move. But I needed more than ownership. I needed evidence. Carter's demotion email was not random. It was a calculated strike. He had been eyeing my project, claiming my team's work in boardroom slide decks. I had let it pass, believing results would outshine his charisma. I was wrong. I opened my laptop and accessed the company's internal servers, using my still active credentials. Risky, but necessary. Files from the last quarter showed anomalies funds diverted from research and development to strategic initiatives, vague expense reports signed by Carter, and emails hinting at a deal with a rival firm. My pulse quickened. This was not just incompetence, it was sabotage. I saved everything to an encrypted drive, my hands steady despite the adrenaline. Then, a notification pinged. An anonymous email, no sender name, just a line. Check the Q3 audit logs. You are not alone. A whistleblower. I hesitated, then downloaded the logs. They showed unauthorized access to my project's codebase, traced to Carter's login. I leaned back, the city's fog a soft hum outside. Someone inside was on my side. But who and why hide? My mother's voice echoed. Patience is power. I would not rush. I would build my case, piece by piece, until Carter's empire of buzzwords collapsed. I texted Ms. Strauss, prepare a second motion for the meeting. Leadership review. Her reply was swift. Done. Be cautious. Elena. I glanced at my mother's photo, her smile now a challenge. Cautious. I was done playing safe. The next day, I met Sarah, my old mentor, at a crowded coffee shop in Soma. The clink of mugs and hiss of espresso machines cloaked our conversation. Sarah, a seasoned engineer who had taught me to code at 20, sipped her latte and listened as I outlined my plan. You are walking into a shark tank. Elena, she said, her voice warm but firm. Carter has allies on the board. Old tech titans, older egos. They will not take kindly to a 33-year-old woman upending their game. I nodded. Stirring my tea, they have no choice. I own 85% of VisionCore. Sarah's eyes widened. Your mother was a mastermind, but power like that? It makes you a target. She was right. That afternoon, my company email was locked, access revoked. An IT memo called it routine maintenance, but I knew better. Carter was circling, sensing a threat. I switched to a burner phone and called Mia, a junior coder from my team who had always been loyal. Something is wrong, she whispered. Carter's been meeting with the chief financial officer after hours. They are shredding documents. Elena, my stomach twisted. Shredding. That was panic or a cover-up. I spent the night cross-referencing the audit logs from the anonymous tip. They confirmed Carter's unauthorized access, but there was more a pattern of data exports to an external server, tagged with an ID. Apex Tech, a rival firm eyeing our artificial intelligence patents. My project was the prize, and Carter was either selling it or stealing it. I saved the evidence, my mind racing. Was he desperate or greedy? And who was the whistleblower slipping me these clues? They felt closer than I could grasp. Flashbacks of my mother flooded in as I worked. Her late-night coding marathons. Her quiet battles with venture capitalists who dismissed her as too idealistic. She had built VisionCore in secret. A vault for her innovations. Had she foreseen someone like Carter? I opened her letter again, tracing her words. You are my legacy. The weight settled not just power, but duty. I was not just fighting for my job. I was fighting for her dream. By Sunday, I had a dossier, financial irregularities, questionable emails, and audit logs tying Carter to Apex Tech. It was enough to rattle the board, but not to end him. I needed more testimony, witnesses, something undeniable. I texted Mia, can you get me into the server room? She hesitated. It is risky. Elena, if they catch you, they will not, I said, my voice steady. Meet me at midnight. As I prepared, doubt crept in. What if the board dismissed my evidence? What if Carter's charm outshone my facts? I pushed the thoughts away, focusing on my mother's photo. She had faced worse odds and won. I slipped into a black jacket, grabbed my encrypted drive, and stepped into the foggy night. The shareholder meeting was 36 hours away. Carter thought he had silenced me. He was about to learn how loud silence could be. The server room buzzed with the hum of cooling fans as Mia and I slipped inside. The door clicking shut behind us. The air was icy, sharp with the scent of metal and circuits. Mia's flashlight cast thin beams across rows of blinking servers, their lights pulsing like a heartbeat. We have 20 minutes before security loops back, she whispered, her voice taut. I nodded, plugging my encrypted drive into the main terminal. My fingers danced across the keyboard, pulling up deleted files from the backup logs. The whistleblower's tip had led me here. Carter's digital tracks were buried in the system, and I needed them. The screen flickered as files emerged. Encrypted emails, transfer logs, and a contract draft with Apex Tech's logo. My breath caught. Carter had not just accessed my project's codebase, he had sent proprietary algorithms to a rival, time-stamped days before my demotion. This was betrayal, cold and calculated. Elena, hurry, Mia urged, glancing at the door. I copied the files, my heart pounding. When footsteps echoed outside, Mia froze. I yanked the drive free, and we ducked behind a server rack as the door handle rattled. The guard's flashlight swept the room, missing us by inches. We held our breath until his steps faded. Back in my loft, I pored over the files. The contract draft outlined a deal to license VisionCore's patents to Apex Tech for a fraction of their value, with a massive consulting fee to an account linked to Carter. Greed, not desperation, drove him. I leaned back, the city's lights glinting through my window. My mother's voice echoed. Patience is power, but patience was fraying. These files could ruin Carter, but they would also expose the company's vulnerabilities. Did I play them now or wait for the meeting? A new email pinged from the whistleblower. Check the board's voting records. Trust no one. I dug into the records, my eyes burning from lack of sleep. 2 board members, Mr. Reynolds and Ms. Chang, had voted against my project's funding last quarter, citing risk. Cross-referencing their financials, I found payments from a shell company tied to Apex Tech. The conspiracy ran deeper than Carter. My mother had built VisionCore to shield her work from predators like these. Had she known the board was compromised? I called Sarah, my voice low. The board is dirty. Reynolds and Chang are linked to Apex Tech. She cursed softly. Your mother warned me about Reynolds years ago. She never trusted him. A flashback hit my mother at her desk, arguing with a man in a suit, her voice sharp. You will sell us out, but I will not let you. Was that Reynolds? I pushed the memory aside. I need you at the meeting. Sarah. As a witness, she agreed, her tone grim. Watch your back. Elena. As dawn broke, I stared at my mother's photo. Her smile was a quiet fire, urging me forward. The files were my weapon, but the whistleblower's warning gnawed at me. Who was feeding me these clues? And why stay hidden? I packed the dossier, my resolve hardening. The meeting was tomorrow. I would walk into that boardroom, not as a victim, but as a force they could not ignore. The boardroom loomed in my mind as I met Sarah again, this time at a rooftop bar overlooking the Bay Bridge. The city's lights shimmered below. A deceptive calm. Reynolds and Chang are not just greedy, Sarah said, swirling her wine. They are allies of the co-founder. Your mother ousted Richard Klein. He vowed revenge when she sidelined him. My mother's fallout with Klein was company lore, whispered in Silicon Valley cafes, but never fully explained. She had pushed him out to protect her vision, creating VisionCore as a safeguard. Now, it seemed, his allies were striking back through Carter. I showed Sarah the Apex Tech contracts. Her face darkened. This is bigger than Carter. If Reynolds and Chang are involved, they will fight dirty. I nodded, my mind racing. The shareholder meeting was my chance to expose them, but I needed allies. I texted Rachel, the human resources manager who had hinted at Carter's misdeeds. Meet me tonight. I wrote, bring any complaints against Carter. She replied, I have a stack. Be careful, they are watching you. Her words chilled me. Was my phone compromised? At a quiet diner, Rachel slid a folder across the table. Employee complaints, she said. Carter has been bullying staff, favoring his buddies, and ignoring harassment reports. The documents detailed a toxic culture. Engineers overworked, women passed over for promotions, and dissenters silenced. One complaint stood out. A junior analyst fired after questioning Carter's budget reallocations. That is my whistleblower, I realized. But Rachel shook her head. She is gone. Someone else is leaking to you. A flashback gripped me. My mother at a company gala. Her laughter masking tension as she whispered to me, never trust flattery. Elena, it hides knives. Had she meant Klein? Reynolds. I thanked Rachel and left, my dossier growing heavier. Back home, I found a bug under my desk, a tiny device. Blinking red. Someone was listening. I crushed it, my pulse racing. Carter's reach was longer than I had thought. I moved my files to a secure cloud, encrypting everything. The whistleblower's latest message arrived. Board voting records, 2018. Look at Klein's last vote. I pulled the records. Klein's final act as a board member was a failed motion to sell the company's artificial intelligence division. My mother's work to a firm linked to Apex Tech. Reynolds and Chang had supported it. The pieces clicked. This was not just about Carter. It was a decades-old vendetta, and I was the final target. I called Ms. Strauss. Add a motion to investigate Reynolds and Chang, I said. She paused. That is a bold move. Elena, they will retaliate. Let them, I replied, my voice steel. I have the patents. As I prepared for the meeting, doubt flickered. Could I outmaneuver a board entrenched for decades? My mother's letter steadied me. You are my legacy. I slipped into a tailored blazer, practicing my opening lines. The board thought they had buried me. Tomorrow, I would show them. I was my mother's daughter. Unbreakable, unstoppable, and ready to reclaim what was mine. The city pulsed outside my loft as I sat with Mia and Rachel in the dim light. The dossier spread across my table like a battle map. Mia's eyes darted nervously, her coder's instincts sensing danger. Rachel, older and steadier, sipped her coffee, her gaze fixed on the stack of complaints. Carter's built a house of cards, she said. But he's not alone. Reynolds and Chang are pulling strings. I nodded, sliding the Apex Tech contract toward them. This proves Carter's selling our patents. And the board's voting records tie Reynolds and Chang to a failed sell-off in 2018. Mia whistled softly. Your mother outsmarted them all. I had recruited them, not just for their skills, but for their loyalty. Mia, brilliance and overlooked, had debugged half my algorithms. Rachel, with her quiet courage, had documented Carter's abuses when no one else dared. We're with you, Mia said, her voice firm despite her nerves. But this is war. Elena, they'll hit back. I knew the risks. The bug under my desk was proof someone was watching, waiting for me to slip. I handed Mia a burner phone. Use this from now on. No company devices. That night, I dug deeper into the whistleblower's tip about the 2018 vote. The records showed Klein's motion had been a desperate grab for control, blocked by my mother's strategic alliances. She had outmaneuvered him, but at a cost Klein's allies. Reynolds and Chang had bided their time, waiting for her absence to strike. Now they were using Carter as their pawn. I cross-referenced the Apex Tech payments to Reynolds and Chang, finding a trail of offshore accounts. It was damning, but I needed more a witness, a voice to make the board listen. Another email from the whistleblower arrived. Look at server backups. March 2023. I accessed the backups remotely, my heart racing as I uncovered deleted emails between Carter and an Apex Tech executive. They discussed streamlining VisionCore's patents for a quick sale, bypassing board approval. The emails were a goldmine, but the whistleblower's anonymity gnawed at me. Why help me and stay hidden? I flashed back to my mother, her voice low at a family dinner. Trust is earned. Elena, but betrayal is a teacher. Was this a trap? I met Sarah at a bustling Mission District taqueria, the air thick with the scent of grilled carne asada. I found emails, I said, passing her a printout. Carter's selling us out. Sarah's eyes narrowed. You need a public face for this. Elena, the board won't budge without pressure. I hesitated. Going public could tank the company's stock, betraying my mother's legacy. But staying quiet risked letting Carter win. I'll decide at the meeting, I said. Sarah nodded, her face grim. Your mother would be proud, but she'd also tell you to watch your back. As I walked home, a black SUV slowed beside me, its tinted window cracking open. Back off, Ms. Voss, a voice growled. Then the car sped into the fog. My pulse spiked. But I kept walking, my mother's photo in my mind. The meeting was in 24 hours. I had allies, evidence, and a legacy to protect. Carter and his cronies thought they had me cornered. They were about to learn how wrong they were. I sat in a dimly lit jazz bar in North Beach, the kind where secrets hide behind saxophone riffs. Mr. Thompson, the whistleblower, had finally agreed to meet. A retired engineer who had worked with my mother. He was a lean man with eyes that held decades of battles. I've been watching Carter for years, he said, sliding a USB drive across the table. Recordings of his calls with Reynolds. Your mother would have wanted you to have them. I plugged the drive into my laptop, my hands steady. The recordings captured Carter boasting about securing VisionCore's patents for Apex Tech, with Reynolds promising a board vote to cover it up. It was a smoking gun. Why stay anonymous? I asked, my voice low to avoid the bar's hum. Thompson's gaze hardened. Carter's dangerous. Elena, he ruined my career when I questioned him last year. Your mother trusted me to protect her work. I'm honoring that. A flashback hit my mother and Thompson in her office, laughing over code, her hand on his shoulder. She had trusted him, and now he was risking everything for me. Thank you, I said, my throat tight. He shook his head. Don't thank me. Use it. Back home, I listened to the recordings again. Carter's voice dripped with arrogance, promising Reynolds a cut of the Apex Tech deal. The evidence was explosive, but using it publicly could spark a media firestorm, damaging the company my mother built. I could present it at the shareholder meeting, but would the board listen? I flashed back to my mother, her voice firm. Truth is your weapon. Elena, but timing is your shield. I needed to choose my moment carefully. I called Ms. Strauss. I have recordings, I said. Carter and Reynolds plotting with Apex Tech. She paused, her voice measured. That's a game changer, but it's a risk. The board could accuse you of entrapment. I nodded, though she could not see me. I'll use them strategically. Add a motion to review board ethics. She agreed, her tone cautious. You're playing with fire. Elena, be precise. I hung up, my mind racing. The recordings were my ace, but the whistleblower's warning. Trust, no one echoed. Was Thompson fully honest? As I prepared my presentation, my phone buzzed with an unknown number. You're digging too deep. A distorted voice said, drop it, or you'll lose more than your job. The line went dead. My heart pounded, but I steadied myself, staring at my mother's photo. She had faced threats and won. I packed the USB drive with my dossier, my resolve like iron. The meeting was tomorrow. Carter thought he had outmaneuvered me. He was about to face the truth and the daughter of the woman he underestimated. The fog was thick as I stood in my loft, practicing my opening lines for the shareholder meeting. My tailored suit hung ready, a navy armor for the battle ahead. The dossier lay on my table: emails, contracts, audit logs, recordings of fortress of evidence against Carter, Reynolds, and Chang. But doubt gnawed at me. Would the board, steeped in Silicon Valley's old boys club, dismiss me as a disgruntled employee? My mother's letter steadied me. You are my legacy. I traced her words, her strength seeping into me. She had built VisionCore to protect her dream. I would not let it fall. I met Mia at a quiet bookstore cafe in Hayes Valley, the air heavy with the scent of old pages and espresso. I'm nervous, she admitted, clutching her latte. Carter's spreading rumors you're unstable, that you faked the demotion to cause drama. I clenched my jaw. Classic Carter, deflect with charm. Let him talk, I said. The evidence will speak louder. I showed her the recordings. Her eyes widened. This could end him. Elena, but what if the board buries it? I nodded, the same fear lurking in me. That's why I need you and Rachel there, witnesses to the truth. A flashback pulled me back. My mother at a tech conference, her voice cutting through a room of skeptics. Innovation isn't ego, it's results. She had faced doubters and won. I would do the same. I texted Rachel, confirm your attendance tomorrow. She replied, I'll be there. HR's buzzing. Carter's nervous. Good. He should be. But the anonymous call from last night lingered. Who was watching me? Was Thompson's USB a trap? I double-checked the recordings, verifying their authenticity. They were real, but the doubt persisted. I called Sarah, my voice low. Carter's spinning lies. I need you to counter them tomorrow. She sighed. He's good at this, Elena. But your mother was better. Stick to the facts, and don't let him bait you. I nodded, her words grounding me. I spent the evening refining my presentations, each slide a blade, financial missteps, Apex Tech's contract, employee complaints, and the recordings, carefully edited to protect Thompson's identity. My mother's voice echoed. Timing is your shield. I would reveal the recordings only if needed. As midnight approached, I stood on my balcony, the city's fog wrapping around me. A car idled across the street, its headlights off. Was it them? I memorized its plates, my heart steady. Fear was a luxury I could not afford. I returned to my mother's photo, her smile a beacon. The board thought they had erased me. Tomorrow, I would walk into that room with 85% of VisionCore in my hands, and the truth as my weapon. Carter's empire of lies was about to crumble. The boardroom gleamed with polished glass and steel, a Silicon Valley temple of power. I stepped inside, my heels clicking on the marble floor, my dossier under my arm. The board members turned, their faces a mix of curiosity and unease. Carter stood at the head of the table, mid-sentence, his smile faltering as he saw me. Elena, he said, his voice sharp. This is a closed meeting. Employees are not permitted. I smiled politely, setting my documents down. I'm not here as an employee. James, I'm here as the majority shareholder of VisionCore. The room stilled, a collective intake of breath. Carter's eyes narrowed, confusion flickering. Meh! Strauss entered behind me, her presence calm but commanding, carrying the ownership certificates. I slid the trust agreement across the table. As of my 33rd birthday, I hold 85% of VisionCore, the subsidiary controlling all artificial intelligence patents, including my project. All documents are filed, notarized, and legal. Mr. Daniels, a board veteran from my mother's era, adjusted his glasses, scanning the papers. Is this accurate? He asked. Ms. Strauss nodded. Airtight. Carter laughed. A hollow sound. This is absurd. Your mother, she was a minor partner at best. I met his gaze, my voice steady. My mother was the co-founder who built the technology you're trying to sell, and I'm here to protect it. The board shifted, some leaning forward, others glancing at Carter. Reynolds cleared his throat. This is highly irregular. We need to verify you will. I interrupted, sliding another document forward. But first, let's discuss leadership. I've called this meeting to review the chief executive officer's performance. Carter's face reddened. You're out of line. Elena, this is a personal vendetta. I opened my dossier, revealing the Apex Tech contract. This is about betrayal. You've been negotiating to sell VisionCore's patents to a rival for personal gain. The board murmured, eyes on the contract. Chang leaned forward. These are serious accusations. Where's your proof? I hesitated, the recordings burning in my pocket. Not yet. Audit logs, emails, and financial records. I said, distributing copies. Carter accessed my project's codebase and shared it with Apex Tech. He diverted funds from research to his own accounts. A flashback hit my mother in the same room, facing down skeptics, her voice unwavering. Results speak louder than promises. I channeled her strength, meeting each board member's gaze. VisionCore is the heart of this company. My mother entrusted it to me, and I won't let it be stolen. Carter stood, his voice rising. You're twisting data to smear me. I smiled faintly. The data speaks for itself. The room was tense, the board divided. Daniels looked at me, a flicker of respect in his eyes. We'll review the evidence, he said. This meeting is adjourned until tomorrow. I nodded, gathering my papers. Carter's glare followed me out. The battle had begun. The city buzzed outside as I sat in my loft. The adjourned meeting replaying in my mind. Carter's defiance, the board's unease, Daniel's cautious respect. It was a fragile victory. I had landed a blow, but Carter was not done. My phone buzzed with a news alert. Tech conglomerate faces turmoil. Ex-employee alleges fraud. Carter had leaked a story to a tech blog, painting me as a disgruntled worker fabricating lies. My blood boiled, but I steadied myself. My mother's voice echoed. Truth is your weapon. I called Ms. Strauss. He's gone public, I said. We need to counter. She was calm. Stick to the plan. Elena, the board's reviewing your evidence. Don't engage the media yet. I nodded, but the urge to fight back burns. I texted Mia and Rachel. Meet me at the diner. We need a strategy. At the diner. Rachel's face was grim. Carter's rallying his allies. Reynolds and Chang are pushing to dismiss your claims as forged. Mia added, the office is buzzing. Some think you're a hero. Others think you're trouble. I leaned forward. Then we give them more truth. Rachel, leak anonymized employee complaints to a neutral outlet. Mia, check the server for more Apex Tech transfers. That night, I reviewed the recordings again. Carter's voice, smug and certain, promising Reynolds a payout. I could release them now. But Ms. Strauss was right, timing mattered. A flashback pulled me back. My mother at her desk, teaching me chess, control the board. Elena, not just the pieces. I needed the board's trust, not just their fear. I drafted a statement for the blog leak, careful to protect my allies. Employees report a toxic culture under current leadership, with ignored complaints and favoritism. It was measured, but it would spark debate. By morning, the blog post was live, trending on social media. The board called an emergency session. I walked in, my suit crisp, my dossier heavier with new evidence from Mia more Apex Tech transfers. Dated post-demotion. Carter stood, his charm frayed. This is a witch hunt. He spat. Elena's manipulating you. I slid the new evidence across the table. These transfers happened last week. James, after you demoted me. Explain that. The board murmured, Reynolds shifting uncomfortably. Daniels took the documents, his expression unreadable. Chang spoke up. We need an independent audit before acting. I nodded, expecting resistance. Agreed. But I moved to suspend Carter pending the audit. Reynolds scoffed. You don't have the votes. I met his gaze. I have 85% of VisionCore. That's enough. Daniels cleared his throat. The motion is noted. We'll vote tomorrow. As I left, Carter's glare was venomous. But I saw cracks. His allies were wavering. My mother's photo flashed in my mind, her smile fierce. I was not just fighting for me. I was fighting for her empire, and I was winning. The news cycle exploded overnight, with tech blogs and ex-posts dissecting the leak. Toxic culture at tech giant. One headline screamed, Carter's smear campaign had backfired. Employees were sharing stories online, echoing Rachel's complaints. I sat in my loft, scrolling through the chaos, my heart racing. The board's vote was hours away, and the pressure was mounting. Ms. Strauss called. The audit's underway, but Carter's team is pushing a counter-narrative. They're claiming you hacked the servers. My jaw tightened. I have Thompson's recordings. They'll prove I didn't need to hack. I met Sarah at a park in the Presidio, the fog curling around eucalyptus trees. Carter's desperate, she said. He's meeting with Reynolds tonight. They're planning to discredit you. I nodded, clutching the USB drive. Then we use the recordings now. Sarah hesitated. It'll burn bridges. Elena, the board might see it as aggressive. I flashed back to my mother, her voice calm during a crisis. Aggression wins battles, strategy wins wars. They need to hear Carter's own words. I said, it's the only way to break his hold. Back home, I prepared for the vote. The recordings were my trump card, but releasing them risked Thompson's safety. I texted him, are you sure about this? He replied, do it. Your mother would. I edited the recordings, masking his voice, and sent them to Ms. Strauss for legal clearance. She called back. They're admissible, but expect pushback. Reynolds might sue. I nodded. Let him try. I have VisionCore. As I finalized my slides, another anonymous message arrived. Check Klein's old emails. I dug into the archives, finding a 2018 thread where Klein urged Reynolds to secure the patents before my mother's trust activated. She had known. The boardroom was tense as I entered, Mia and Rachel behind me. Carter stood, his face a mask of confidence. "This is a stunt," he said. "Elena's evidence is fabricated." I connected my laptop to the projector. "The recording's ready. Let's hear from you." "James." I played the audio Carter's voice, clear and smug, detailing the Apex Tech deal. The board froze. Reynolds stood, red-faced. "This is illegal." I smiled faintly. "It's legal, and it's the truth." Daniels raised a hand. "Enough. We vote now." The vote was swift. My motion to suspend Carter passed, with Daniels and 2 others siding with me. Reynolds and Chang abstained, their faces grim. Carter stormed out, his parting words a hiss. "This isn't over." I exhaled, my mother's photo in my mind. The battle was won, but the war loomed. I turned to the board. "VisionCore is this company's future. Let's protect it." Daniels nodded, a flicker of respect in his eyes. I had drawn first blood, but the fight was far from done. Carter's suspension hit like a shockwave. By noon, X was ablaze with speculation. Some called me a hero, others a schemer. A tech blog published a hit piece, sourced to insiders, accusing me of forging the recordings. I sat in my loft, the city's fog a gray veil outside, and called Ms. Strauss. "They're retaliating," I said. "We need to secure VisionCore's patents." She agreed. "I'm filing for an injunction to block any transfers." But Apex Tech is moving fast. They've hired a top legal firm. My stomach churned. This was Klein's old playbook. I met Mia and Rachel at a dive bar in the Tenderloin, the air thick with beer and regret. "The office is splitting," Rachel said. "Carter's allies are spreading lies, but others are rallying for you." Mia nodded. I found more transfers to Apex Tech post-suspension. Someone's still leaking data. My mind raced. Was Reynolds or Chang behind it? I texted Thompson. "Any leads on new leaks?" He replied, "Check the CFO's logs." I dug in, finding encrypted files sent from the CFO's account to an Apex Tech server. The conspiracy was alive. A flashback pulled me back. My mother at a board meeting, her voice cutting through. "Loyalty is rare. Elena, test it before you trust it." I tested my allies, asking Rachel to quietly gather employee support and Mia to trace the CFO's access. By evening, Rachel reported, 50 employees signed a petition backing you. It was a start, but I needed the board. I called Sarah. "I'm proposing myself as interim CEO," I said. She whistled. "Bold. Daniels might back you, but Reynolds and Chang will fight." I nodded. "Let them. I have the votes." The next board meeting was electric. I walked in, my dossier updated with the CFO's leaks. "Carter's suspension isn't enough," I said. "VisionCore's patents are still at risk." I moved to appoint an interim CEO to stabilize the company. Reynolds scoffed. "You mean yourself?" I met his gaze. "Yes, I hold 85% of VisionCore. I'm qualified." Daniels nodded slowly. "We'll vote tomorrow." As I left, Chang cornered me. "You're making enemies." "Elena," I smiled faintly. "Good. It means I'm doing something right." Back home, I stared at my mother's photo, her eyes fierce. The leaked files, the hit pieces, the threats, they were all part of Klein's shadow war. But I was ready. I had allies, evidence, and a legacy to defend. Tomorrow's vote would decide more than my title. It would decide the company's soul. The boardroom crackled with tension as I entered, my suit sharp, my dossier a shield. The vote for interim CEO was today, and the air felt like a storm about to break. Carter's absence left a void, but Reynolds and Chang filled it with glares. Daniels called the meeting to order, his voice steady. "Elena has moved to appoint herself interim CEO. We'll hear her case." I stood, my slides projecting financials, employee petitions, and the Apex Tech leaks. "This company is bleeding trust," I said. "Carter's actions and his allies threaten VisionCore's patents. I can stabilize it." Reynolds interrupted. "You're an opportunist." "Elena, no executive experience." I smiled faintly. "I led the team that built VisionCore, delivering 70 million in contracts. My experience is results." I played an edited recording. Carter admitting to the Apex Tech deal, Reynolds' voice agreeing. The board shifted, Chang's face paling. "That's manipulated," she snapped. Ms. Strauss stepped forward. "It's verified and legal." Daniels raised a hand. "Let's vote." The vote was tight. Daniels and 2 others backed me. Reynolds and Chang opposed. My 85% stake in VisionCore tipped the scale. "Motion carries," Daniels said. Elena Voss is interim CEO. Reynolds stormed out, Chang following. I exhaled, my mother's voice in my mind. Strategy wins wars. I turned to the board. We start with transparency, an audit of all patent transfers, and a review of board ethics. Daniels nodded, a faint smile breaking through. Outside, Mia and Rachel waited, their faces anxious. "You did it," Mia whispered. I shook my head. "We did it, but it's not over." That night, X lit up with news of my appointment. Some praising my rise, others calling it a coup. A new message from Thompson arrived. "Watch the CFO. He's Klein's man." I dug into the CFO's emails, finding a trail to Klein himself, now an Apex Tech consultant. The vendetta was personal. A flashback hit my mother warning me. "Power reveals enemies. Elena, be ready." I moved into the CEO's office, keeping my mother's photo on the desk. The fight was far from done, but I had the helm now. Carter's empire was cracking, and I would rebuild mine on truth. As interim CEO, I walked into the office to a mix of wary glances and cautious nods. The news of my rise had spread, and the office buzzed with whispers. I called an all-hands meeting in the main hall, the same space where Carter had once flaunted projections like trophies. Employees filed in, some curious, others skeptical. I stood at the front. No notes, just truth. "Some of you know me," I began. "Some only know the rumors. I'm here to restore trust, not to claim power." I laid out the facts. Carter's betrayal, the Apex Tech deal, the toxic culture. "This company was my mother's dream," I said. "She built it on innovation and fairness. We'll rebuild that." A murmur rippled through the crowd, some nodding, others hesitant. I ended with a promise. "Your voices will be heard." After, Mia approached, her eyes bright. "They're listening." "Elena, keep going." I nodded, but the weight of leadership settled heavy. Could I deliver? I met with department heads, listening to grievances over work, favoritism, ignored ideas. I promoted Mia to lead engineer, her talent long overdue for recognition. Rachel took over human resources, tasked with reviewing complaints. A flashback hit my mother mentoring young coders, her voice warm. People are the heart of any company. "Elena, I launched a vision-first initiative, rewarding collaboration and equity, echoing my mother's values. But trouble brewed. Reynolds filed a lawsuit, claiming my recordings were illegal. Ms. Strauss countered, proving their authenticity. Apex Tech escalated, demanding access to VisionCore's patents. I dug deeper, finding Klein's emails, urging Reynolds to neutralize me. The vendetta was clear. I stared at my mother's photo, her eyes steady. I would not falter. The office was shifting desks, sprouted plans. Laughter returned. But Klein's shadow loomed, and I knew the fight was just beginning. A week into my tenure, a letter arrived from Miss Strauss, marked urgent. It was a codicil to my mother's trust. Hidden until now, it revealed a clause. If I misused VisionCore's power, control could revert to a designated third party. No name was given. My heart sank. Had my mother doubted me? I called Ms. Strauss. "What does this mean?" She sighed. "Your mother wanted to ensure VisionCore stayed ethical. The third party is likely a safeguard, but I don't know who." The mystery deepened. Was Klein behind this? I met Thompson at a pierside cafe, the bay's wind sharp. "Did my mother mention a third party?" I asked. He frowned. She hinted at a backup plan, someone she trusted implicitly, but she never named them. A flashback hit my mother at a holiday party, whispering to a colleague, "If I fall, someone else will rise." Who? I pushed the thought aside, focusing on the present. Apex Tech's lawsuit was gaining traction, claiming VisionCore's patents were misallocated. I countered with a press release, detailing Carter's betrayal without naming Klein. The office was transforming. Mia's team launched a new VisionCore feature, boosting morale. Rachel resolved old complaints, firing 2 of Carter's loyalists. Employees began to trust me. But Klein's emails haunted me. He was orchestrating Apex Tech's moves, using Reynolds as a proxy. I stared at my mother's photo, her smile a challenge. The clause was a test of my ethics, my resolve. I would not sell out. I called a board meeting, proposing a full audit of Klein's influence. Daniels backed me, but Chang hesitated. "This could destabilize us," she said. I met her gaze, so could silence. As I left, a new whistleblower message arrived. "Look at your mother's old prototypes." I accessed her archives, finding unreleased AI designs, VisionCore's untapped potential. My heart raced. This was her true legacy, but also a target. I locked the files, my resolve firm. The clause loomed, but I would prove myself worthy. Carter and Klein thought they could outmaneuver me. They were wrong. The fog rolled over San Francisco as I sat in my loft, my laptop glowing with my mother's archived prototypes and released artificial intelligence designs that could redefine ethical decision-making. VisionCore's potential was staggering, but so was the risk. Apex Tech's lawsuit claimed these patents were misallocated, demanding access. My phone buzzed with a message from Miss Strauss. "Apex Tech's pushing for a settlement. They want the prototypes." I stared at my mother's photo, her blue eyes steady. Selling out would end the fight, but betray her dream. I met Mia at a Mission District coffee shop, the air rich with roasted beans. "The prototypes are game changers," she said, scanning my laptop. "But if Apex Tech gets them, they'll strip the ethics out." I nodded, my mind racing. A flashback hit my mother in her garage office. Coding with a purpose. Technology should serve Elena, not exploit. I could fight legally, draining resources, or protect the prototypes by releasing a limited version publicly, proving VisionCore's value. We patent them first. I decided, lock them down. That night, I dug deeper into the prototypes, finding notes in my mother's handwriting. For a better world. My heart ached. She had built these for me to finish. But a new threat emerged, a server hack. Traced to an internal IP, someone was still leaking data. I called Liam, a cybersecurity expert Sarah recommended. Can you trace it? I asked. He nodded, his voice calm. Give me 12 hours. As I waited, another whistleblower message arrived. Check the board's private chat. I accessed it, finding Reynolds urging Chang to push Elena out before the prototypes surfaced. The lawsuit loomed, and I faced a moral choice: settle to save the company's finances or fight, risking bankruptcy. My mother's voice echoed, hold your ground, but know the cost. I chose to fight. I filed new patents for the prototypes, naming VisionCore as the sole owner. The office buzzed with new energy employees added plants to desks, a nod to my mother's love of growth. But the hack worried me. Was Chang behind it? I stared at my mother's photo, her smile a challenge. Apex Tech thought they could scare me. They were wrong, but the battle was tightening, and I needed to strike first. Liam's call came at dawn, his voice urgent. The hack traces to Chang's account, but she's covering her tracks. I stood in my loft, the city's fog a gray shroud outside. Chang's private chats with Reynolds had hinted at betrayal, but this was proof. I could expose her publicly, sparking a boardroom showdown, or set a trap to catch her in the act. My mother's voice whispered, discretion is a blade. Elena, I chose the trap. I met Liam at a Soma diner, the air thick with bacon grease. Plant a decoy file, I said. Make it look like a prototype. Liam worked fast, embedding a tracker in a fake patent draft. I leaked it to Chang's server access, watching from my laptop as she opened it. The tracker pinged an Apex Tech server. My heart raced. Chang was feeding Klein's machine. I called Ms. Strauss. We've got her, I said, but I need to confront her privately first. She warned. She'll deny it. Have evidence ready. I nodded, pulling the tracker logs and her chats with Reynolds. A flashback hit my mother, warning me about a board member's greed, her eyes sharp. Was it Chang? I invited Chang to my office, the glass walls reflecting the city's skyline. She sat, her face composed. What's this about? Elena. I slid the logs across my desk. You're leaking to Apex Tech. Why? Her eyes flickered, but she laughed. You're paranoid. I played the tracker data, showing her access. Deny it to the board, and I'll show them this. Her mask cracked. Klein promised me a stake, she admitted. You're too idealistic. Elena, this industry eats dreamers. I leaned forward, and I eat traitors. I suspended Chang, calling an emergency board meeting. Daniels backed me, his voice firm. We'll investigate. Reynolds, cornered, stayed silent. The office shifted, employees decorated with photos. A cultural nod to my mother's warmth. X buzzed with news of Chang's suspension, some calling it justice, others a power grab. I stared at my mother's photo, her smile fierce. The trap had worked, but Klein was still out there, and the lawsuit loomed. I needed to secure VisionCore's future, not just its past. Chang's suspension sent ripples through the company, but Klein's shadow grew darker. A cryptic letter arrived from him, hand-delivered to my loft. The third party watches. Elena, you're not as secure as you think. The trust's hidden claws haunted me. Control could revert if I faltered. I called Miss Strauss, my voice tight. Klein knows about the third party. Who is it? She hesitated. Your mother's codicil named Dr. Anna Weiss, a former colleague. She's neutral, but Klein's reaching out to her. I met Weiss at a quiet cafe in Pacific Heights, the bay glinting below. She was older, her eyes sharp like my mother's. Your mother trusted me to judge your leadership, she said. The clause tests your ethics. A flashback hit my mother and Weiss in a lab, debating AI's soul. I'm fighting for VisionCore's integrity, I said. Klein wants to gut it. Weiss nodded. I see her in you, Elena, but Klein's dangerous. Prove you're worthy. Her words were a challenge, not a threat. Back in the office, I launched a new VisionCore feature ethical decision filters. Earning praise on X, employees rallied. Desks now vibrant with personal touches. Echoing the sample's cultural shift, Mia's team worked overtime, their trust in me palpable. But Apex Tech's lawsuit gained ground. citing patent misuse. Ms. Strauss countered. But Klein's influence worried me. A whistleblower message arrived. Klein's meeting Reynolds tonight. I sent Liam to monitor, his report chilling. They're planning to sway Weiss. I faced a moral choice. Contact Weiss again, risking manipulation, or trust my actions to speak. My mother's voice guided me. Integrity is your proof. I doubled down, releasing a white paper on VisionCore's ethics, winning public support. Daniels called, his voice warm. The board's with you. Elena, keep going. I stared at my mother's photo, her smile a beacon. Klein thought he could scare me. He was wrong, but Weiss's judgment loomed, and I needed to stay true. Apex Tech's lawsuit escalated, their lawyers claiming VisionCore's patents were stolen from Klein's era. I sat in my office, the city's skyline a backdrop, as Ms. Strauss called. We've got leverage, she said. Apex Tech's filings show they bribed a patent clerk. My pulse quickened. This could end them. I met her in the financial district, her office gleaming. File a counterclaim, I said. Expose their corruption. She nodded, but warned, it'll drag Klein into the open. He'll hit back. I promoted Rachel to chief operating officer, her steady hand vital. The office thrived. Employees shared ideas in open forums. A stark contrast to Carter's reign. A flashback hit my mother mentoring young coders, her voice warm. Build a team. Elena, not a hierarchy. I launched a Vision Forward program, rewarding innovation, and the stock rose. But Klein's threat lingered. Liam found new emails. Klein urging Reynolds to bury Elena with false audits. I faced a choice. Expose Klein now, risking a PR storm, or focus on the lawsuit. I chose the lawsuit. Trusting Ms. Strauss's strategy, she filed the counterclaim. And X exploded with news. Apex Tech accused of bribery. Public sentiment turned, but Klein retaliated, leaking a story claiming I'd doctored evidence. I countered with a blog post, detailing VisionCore's mission without naming Klein. Employees rallied, their whiteboards now reading, "She fights for us." A flashback showed my mother's resilience. Facing skeptics with facts, I stared at her photo, her eyes fierce. The legal edge was mine. But Klein's vendetta was personal, and I needed to end it. Klein emerged at a tech conference in San Jose, his keynote accusing me of stealing VisionCore's patents. I watched the live stream in my office, my team around me. He's lying, Mia said, her voice sharp. I nodded, my resolve firm. Then we take the stage. I secured a last-minute slot, preparing a keynote to showcase VisionCore's ethics. The conference hall was packed, tech leaders and reporters watching. I stepped up, my mother's photo in my mind, and spoke. VisionCore isn't just technology, it's a promise to do better. I unveiled a new feature, AI transparency tools, earning gasps. This is my mother's legacy, I said, showing her old sketches. The crowd applauded, X lighting up with praise. Klein approached after, his smile cold. You're playing a dangerous game. Elena, I met his gaze. So are you. A flashback hit my mother warning me, public wins are fleeting. Elena, guard your core. I returned to the office, employees cheering, a whiteboard reading. She rose. A whistleblower message revealed the third party's neutrality. Weiss would judge based on my actions. I grappled with contacting her again, fearing Klein's influence. My mother's voice guided me. Trust your work. I focused on the company, launching a diversity initiative. The lawsuit weakened as Apex Tech's bribery scandal grew, but Klein's threat lingered, and I knew he was planning a final strike. I stared at my mother's photo, her smile a challenge. The public stage was mine, but the war was not over. Dr. Weiss requested a meeting, her email formal but warm. I drove to her Berkeley home, the bay sparkling below. She greeted me with tea, her eyes assessing. Your mother's clause was a test, she said, to ensure VisionCore stayed ethical. You've passed. Elena, control is yours. My heart lifted, but I asked, why the secrecy? She smiled faintly. Your mother wanted you to earn it, not inherit it. A flashback hit my mother and Weiss, planning the trust. Their voices low. I had proven myself. Back in the office, Reynolds resigned, his lawsuit collapsing under Apex Tech's scandal. Daniels called, his voice proud. You've turned the board. Elena, full CEO. I nodded. I'm ready. The vote was unanimous. My title secured. Employees celebrated. Desks vibrant with art, echoing the sample's cultural shift. I faced a choice. Expand VisionCore globally, risking dilution, or focus on ethics. My mother's voice guided me. Stay true. I chose ethics, launching a global AI ethics standard. Klein's influence waned, but I stayed vigilant. Liam found no new leaks, and Mia's team pushed VisionCore's limits. A flashback showed my mother's pride in my resilience, her smile warm. I stared at her photo, feeling her presence. The test was passed, but the company's future was mine to shape. I addressed my team. We're not just a company. We're a movement. The whiteboard read, she leads us. Klein's shadow lingered, but I was ready for his next move. Apex Tech's collapse was swift, their bribery exposed in court. Klein's name surfaced, his role in the patent scheme unraveling. I sat in my office, the city's skyline gleaming. As Strauss called. "Klein's done," she said. "He's facing charges." X buzzed with news. Tech mogul falls. But I stayed cautious. Klein was a fighter, and I needed to ensure his influence was dead. I launched a foundation in my mother's name, funding ethical AI, cementing VisionCore's mission. Employees thrived, open forums sparking innovation. I promoted Liam to head of cybersecurity, his loyalty proven. A flashback hit my mother mentoring me. Build for tomorrow. Elena, not just today. I mentored young coders, passing her legacy forward. But a new threat emerged. Klein's last email, sent pre-arrest. "You'll never hold it all." Was it a bluff? I checked VisionCore's patents, finding no gaps, but his words lingered. I called a board meeting, proposing a full review of Klein's past deals. Daniels backed me, and the board agreed. The office was alive, with a mural of my mother's sketches on a wall. A flashback showed her resilience, facing Klein's greed. I stared at her photo, her smile fierce. Klein's fall was my victory, but I needed to secure the future. I addressed my team. "We've won a battle, but our work begins." The whiteboard read, "She built us." I was ready for whatever came next. A new threat emerged, a hostile takeover bid from Novatech, a rival backed by Klein's old allies. I sat in my office, the bay's lights flickering. As Ms. Strauss briefed me, "They're offering billions for VisionCore's patents," she said. The board's tempted. My heart sank. After Klein's fall, I thought we were safe. I rallied the board, my voice firm. VisionCore isn't for sale. It's my mother's legacy. Daniels nodded, but 2 new members wavered. I met Mia and Rachel at a North Beach pizzeria, the air warm with garlic. "Novatech's circling," I said. "We need leverage." Mia grinned. "Let's release a new prototype, show our strength." We launched a predictive ethics tool, boosting stock prices. Employees celebrated. Whiteboards reading. "She holds us." A flashback hit my mother's foresight, hiding prototypes from Klein. I used VisionCore's patents as leverage, threatening to license them independently if Novatech pushed. Liam found Novatech's funding tied to Klein's shell companies. I exposed it to the board, and the takeover bid faltered. A flashback showed my mother's strategic minds, outmaneuvering foes. I stared at her photo, her eyes steady. The threat was fading, but I needed to lock Novatech out. I proposed a shareholder vote to protect VisionCore's patents, winning unanimously. The office buzzed, a retreat plan to celebrate. I addressed my team. "We're unbreakable." The fight was won, but I stayed vigilant. Novatech's bid collapsed, their funding exposed as Klein's last gasp. I stood in my office, the city's fog lifting, and promoted Mia to Chief Technology Officer, her brilliance vital. The office was vibrant, open feedback loops, diverse hires doubling. I launched a global ethics council, VisionCore leading the charge. A flashback hit my mother's last advice, lead with heart. Elena. I balanced power and empathy, mentoring new leaders. Employees organized a team retreat in Napa, laughter echoing over vineyards. A mural of my mother's face graced the office, her legacy alive. But I faced personal costs. Friendships strained by my focus. I reconciled with a college friend, promising balance. A flashback showed my mother's warmth, grounding me. I stared at her photo, her smile a guide. The new order was mine, but I needed to sustain it. A minor rival, Tech Trend, eyed VisionCore's prototypes. I secured them with new patents, outmaneuvering their bid. The board praised my foresight, and X lauded our growth. I addressed my team. "This is our home, built on truth." The whiteboard read, "She shapes us." The company was strong, but I knew peace was fragile. I was ready for the next challenge. My mother's dream, my North Star. The company soared, but my personal life frayed. I sat in my loft, the city's lights distant. As a college friend, Claire, called, "You've changed." "Elena," she said, "all work, no life." Her words stung. I had missed birthdays, dinners, lost in VisionCore's fight. A flashback hit my mother, balancing work and family, her laughter warm. I drove to Claire's Oakland home, apologizing over coffee. "I'm here now," I said. She smiled, forgiving. Back in the office, diversity doubled, and profits hit records. I launched a wellness program, ensuring employees thrived. A flashback showed my mother's care for her team, inspiring me. The whiteboard read, "She cares for us." But a new rival, IntelliCore, hinted at a patent challenge. I met Liam, his analysis sharp. "They're bluffing," he said. I filed preemptive patents, neutralizing them. I mentored a young coder, Maya, seeing my mother's spark in her. A flashback revealed my mother's pride in me, her voice soft. "You're enough, Elena." I stared at her photo, feeling balance return. The personal cost was real, but I was rebuilding friendships. trust, myself. I addressed my team. We're a family, not just a company. The office buzzed, a community thriving. I was ready for what came next. My mother's legacy. My guide. I launched the Voss Foundation for Ethical AI, named for my mother, funding global research. The San Francisco Gala sparkled, tech leaders toasting VisionCore's rise. I spoke. My mother dreamed of technology that uplifts. This is her legacy. X praised the move, and employees beamed. Desks adorned with foundation pins. A flashback hit my mother's dream of a fair tech world. Her eyes bright. I felt her pride. The board fully backed me. Apex Tech's shadow gone. I promoted Maya to lead a new AI ethics team, her talent shining. The office was a community open mic nights, shared lunches. A flashback showed my mother's warmth, inspiring me. But a small rival, CodeZap, probed VisionCore's security. Liam shut them down, his firewalls ironclad. I stared at my mother's photo, her smile steady. I mentored young coders globally, passing her legacy forward. A flashback revealed her final letter, lead with courage. Elena. The whiteboard read, she inspires us. The company posted record profits, but I focused on impact ethics, equity, innovation. I addressed my team. We're changing the world. The foundation was my promise to her, and I would keep it. CodeZap's probe was a reminder. Peace was never permanent. CodeZap escalated, filing a patent dispute over VisionCore's prototypes. I sat in my office, the bay's lights steady, as Miss Strauss briefed me. It's a weak claim, she said. But they're testing you. I nodded, my resolve firm. I met Liam and Mia at Asoma Brewery. The air hoppy, double our security, I said, and file counter patents. Mia grinned. Let's bury them. We launched a new prototype AI fairness metrics, stealing CodeZap's thunder. Employees celebrated with a team hackathon. Desks alive with code. A flashback hit my mother's strategic mind, outmaneuvering rivals. The whiteboard read, she outsmarts them. Liam's firewalls held, and Ms. Strauss crushed CodeZap's claim in court. X lauded our dominance, but I stayed vigilant. A flashback showed my mother's foresight, hiding prototypes from greed. I stared at her photo, her eyes fierce. The probe was a test, and I had passed. I addressed my team. We're not just strong, we're unstoppable. The office buzzed. A retreat planned in Big Sur. I mentored Maya, her project soaring. The company was a beacon, but I knew rivals would rise. My mother's legacy was secure, and I was ready for any challenge. VisionCore's global AI ethics standard launched, earning UN praise. I stood in my office, the city's skyline aglow. As X hailed me, Voss redefines tech. The office was vibrant, diverse teams, open forums, a mural of my mother's face. I spoke at a global summit, my voice steady. Ethics isn't optional. It's our future. The crowd roared, and employees watched online. Whiteboards reading, she changes us. CodeZap backed off. Their probe dead. I promoted Liam to Chief Security Officer, his loyalty unwavering. A flashback hit my mother's faith in me, her voice soft. You'll lead? Elena. I mentored global coders, expanding the Voss Foundation. The company posted record profits, but I focused on impact. A minor rival, AI trend, hinted at a challenge. But Mia's team preempted it with new patents. I stared at my mother's photo, feeling peace. The global stage was mine, but I stayed grounded. A flashback showed her resilience, facing skeptics with grace. I addressed my team. We're a movement, not just a company. The office buzzed, a community thriving. I knew challenges would come, but I was ready. My mother's dream was alive, and I would carry it forward. A year after my rise, VisionCore led the industry, its ethics standard global. I sat in my office, the bay sparkling, mentoring Maya, her projects echoing my mother's spark. The office was a beacon diverse, innovative, desks alive with art. I launched a youth AI program through the Voss Foundation, inspiring thousands. X called me a visionary, but I saw my mother's hand in it all. A flashback hit her final letter, lead with courage. Elena. I stared at her photo, her smile warm. The whiteboard read, she changed us. No rivals challenged us. Our patents were ironclad. I promoted Rachel to co-CEO, sharing power. Employees thrived. Profits soared, but I focused on legacy ethics, equity, impact. A flashback showed my mother's pride, her voice soft. You're my dream. I addressed my team. This is our home, built on truth. They cheered. A family forged. I walked the office, seeing my mother's sketches on walls, her spirit alive. The company was secure, its future bright. I knew challenges would rise, but I was ready. My mother's legacy was mine, and I would honor it forever. 1 year after my demotion, I stood in my office, overlooking San Francisco's bay. VisionCore was a global beacon ethical, innovative, a home. The office buzzed, desks vibrant with art, a mural of my mother's face glowing. I placed her photo on my desk, feeling peace. A flashback hit her voice at my graduation. You'll change the world. Elena. I had employees gathered in the main hall, their faces proud. I spoke. This isn't just a company. It's where we belong. My mother dreamed of a tech world that uplifts, and we've built it. They cheered. Whiteboards reading, "She is us." X hailed our triumph. Profits record-breaking. Diversity unmatched. I mentored Maya. Her rise, my mother's echo. Rachel and Mia stood beside me. Our team unbreakable. No rivals loomed. Our patents were secure. The Voss Foundation inspired millions, and VisionCore's ethics standard reshaped tech. A flashback showed my mother's smile, her legacy complete. I stared at her photo, my heart full. I had faced Carter, Klein, and doubt, emerging stronger. The whiteboard read, "She won." I addressed my team one last time. This is our triumph, built on truth. The city sparkled below, and I knew my mother's dream was alive, and I was its keeper.